Hello friends, it's Peggy Lou. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'd like to show you some more spring things that I am using for late spring after Easter decor. So I'm just going to do today the front entrance and the top of the stairs because it gets too long when I try to combine either one of those areas with the living room. I will do another one shortly of the living room, but I hope you enjoy today's video. I have something new out here in the front entrance. It's not on the buffet here. It's behind me. I've got a swan that I probably have shown early on when I was making videos a year ago. That was at the top of the stairs, I believe, with a very large black California swan. I found this for only $6, I believe, in Wisconsin, the big white swan. It's kind of an off-white, so I don't use it in the living room because of my white milk glass, but it's very nice out here when you combine it with these colorful birds. I thrifted this really fun glass plate with so much neat gold on it. Sometimes, you have things that you throw on the buffet out here in the front entrance, like your keys and mail to make sure you take it out to the mailbox. So sometimes I like to put a plate on the buffet out here too for that purpose. But these bluebirds I found a year ago, and I do show them in my very first Easter video a year ago, March. They were something like $14.99 or $16.99, I can't remember, but they were a real surprise to find. Very, very happy to have caught just a little glimpse of the head of one of them peeking out on a very high shelf. So that was really great when Norm helped take them down, and we saw they were so reasonable. They're from the 50s. I can put a little note on the bottom. I forget again the name of the company that made them, but I'll put a little note down there. Over here on the door is a very large, I believe this is Homeco plaque that I just thrifted this past summer. Needed a good cleaning, and I know that some of them, when you find them, have a deeper color on them. It's coming out very pretty, but I had a feeling that the one I had many years ago and did decide to give away was maybe a little bit richer color on that. So this may have faded a little bit by the previous owner having it maybe exposed to the sun. I really don't know if I want to keep it all black. I know it's wrought iron, but I suppose I will. You know me and wanting things spray painted. It's kind of dramatic colors for out here. On our front door, I just don't know how well it would show up on our front door because that is a wine color. And of course those orange flowers wouldn't be all that great on a wine colored door anyway. So if I keep this, I would be using it indoors here. But over here, I want to show you something that I did ask Norm to spray paint. I have normally had a black framed picture out here, quite large, that I've shown you in many front entrance videos where I've printed out some very cute picture, 13 by 19 size picture, and then we had a very nice frame that was easy to change those pictures. But I kind of wanted to simplify it over here right now because Norm just bought me this really nice 50s. It was actually dated on the back mirror. I think it was the mirror, at least. When he took it apart, there was some part in the back that he said he found a date on it from the 50s. It was mahogany, and I don't want mahogany out here. So we did take that apart, but that's why I decided to purchase this very large fun key that I think is Burwood, and it was more of a brassy color, a little more orange, and it was stained. They do that when you have a lot of detail on a plaque, of course. If you put stain on it after you color it, then it brings out the detail very much. And that's something that I was trying to get away from, is a real ornate look. I just wanted a soft gold. So what he used on the Shadowbox over here was an antique gold by Rust-Oleum. We really struggled when we went to the hardware store to pick out something, and unfortunately they really didn't have what I thought we would find. I looked up on the internet the best gold, comparing all the different gold brand paint there was out there. And we had to settle for this antique gold, and I'm perfectly happy with it. It's nice to not have it really, like metallic, very high glossy metallic. Would have looked more like metal, so that wouldn't have been right to use on the wood. So I am very happy with how this turned out. If you have seen our previous videos out here in the front entrance, you'll recall that we had a black, flat, industrial looking mirror and coat rack combination with one little tiny shelf on it. We've had that for, I don't know, 15 years maybe. And I love the idea of having something vintage out here. That mirror was from Room and Board, and it just was something that I thought was very cool way back when we bought it. But Norm was very kind to struggle to get this all apart, and he decided as long as he had it apart, we should go get a new mirror for it, because the old mirror was a little wavy looking, and we ran across that same situation with our very large, crazy shadow box in the living room. Every shadow box we've bought that was vintage, the mirror did look a little wavy. So when he took it apart and got it all back together again very nicely, we had across the very top from that heavy metal mirror, there was a piece of a long strip of metal lip with a lip on it, of course, to lift the mirror on up and over that strip. So we had some big screws up there to deal with on the top. And you don't want to go real high with a shadow box. You want it at eye level. And the first one we tried out here, we did purchase a different one that we really thought we could use out here. It was much more of a rectangle. This one is much higher up shape, not your typical long shadow boxes. So it didn't work because it would have been too high to hide those screws. All these little things that you just don't think of, when you're trying something new. So we went back to Up Your Alley, our favorite new, extremely retro, wonderful shop that we've done 2 videos on that we hope you've seen. And I found this one. It was a wonderful price of only $100. So it was perfect to go high enough to cover up those screws. But these swans and geese, I believe, are Japan. And I've just found odds and ends of them over the years. Maybe I've found a pair here and there, but you wouldn't believe how often I was fortunate to find the second one to match up and be a pair. And I did start collecting these, probably 5 years ago at least. Now, this one up here, I sure wish I would have found it in this side over here, because this is a goose, but that's a swan. So I need the pink goose looking down, like this cute little one is looking down. That's just so fun. So there's 2 geese in yellow and only 1 pink goose. Now there's an odd white one that happens to be a pepper. It's got a couple holes in the front there. And this is an odd little cute swan planter that I found last year for only a few dollars, and it does have gold on it. And this crazy fun glamorous rooster I found a couple years ago. I better back up some. Wants to go out of focus. Very fun. It is also very much like a Schnauzer dog that I have. I've seen the poodle. I don't own the poodle. They made the same way. It's Japan. And it might have a maker on the bottom of there too, I forget. But I didn't have any third sort of tall item to put in the middle there, but it turns out kind of cute having him look up at that goose. So that's our new addition. Norm really had fun. Of course, he was up on a ladder and I was down below holding it up with my shoulder so he wasn't trying to lift that whole heavy thing while he was trying to get the wire stretched across. He put new wire on it, and in order to use the 2 screws that were up there, we had to have the wire very tight. So that's my long description of something that I'm so pleased to have out here in the front entrance. More mirror is nice. It just lets more light in, gives you a more open feeling, and of course, oh, so retro. So I hope you like this area. Now let's go upstairs where I have more pretty birds, a new plaque. It's not new, it's very old, but it's new for you to see. Before we go upstairs, I totally forgot to show you 2 more crazy plaques. I can't remember if these are Homeco. I can put a little note down there again if you're wondering who made these. But so many plaques, that are made to be a wicker design, like these darling ones, are brown. Maybe some were actually put out white, but I would imagine those were the only 2 colors that you ever found these old Homeco and Burwood plaques. So this one pair was also a light tan, more so. And it had 2 other colors, a pale orange and a pale yellow. I'm not certain, I'm remembering if there was a cream look also, but anyways, I had them in my bathroom for a while, quite a few years ago, and then just put them away. Well, I felt bad they were put away because I really, really do think they're adorable. I consider this kitschy. I love kitschy, don't get me wrong. I used to have way more kitschy things in our house. But over the past 5 years at least, I started selling it or giving it away and trying to stick with things that I felt were more classy, for down here especially. The bathroom can be kitschy. My green bedroom is very kitschy. That is wonderful to have somewhere to display these kind of fun things. But what I decided to have Norm do, because the furnace is not on right now, but when it's on, that window is lit up in a soft green. So I thought it would be fun to spray these green. And what I did first, I had a can of just a very, very soft green. I was very bored with it. So what I did then later was take them back outside and spray from the top down in a very bright lime green. So if you were standing and looking at these from the top angle, they would look pretty light colored to you. But if you're looking at them from the bottom angle, they would be darker, much darker. So that is my way of creating highlights, creating a sunny effect. It's like the sun is shining on the top of them. And I'm much happier with the color. They just don't look as boring to me now. I hope you like them too. Let me know what you think. Upstairs here, we'll go up and look at a lot more swans and birds and a huge Burwood bird plaque that's absolutely nuts. Let's first look at this adorable little shelf. It's actually kind of heavy, but it is small. This was another very fun purchase from one of our several trips to Up Your Alley, a former bowling alley building. Very, very wonderful retro shop. I decided to get this. It was quite reasonable. I can't remember, but I had found the little blue swan vase on the left, on top, couple of years ago, and it's been in my bedroom, turquoise bedroom, and it really didn't have anybody to be with. It was quite small. And so when I was in Hutchinson with Norm, that we've done 3 videos of, I found the little tiny swan planter on the right, and I think it was like $4.95. Very simple, but very cute. I could put a little air plant or something in it, but I've chosen not to because I want you to see the shelf a little better. And then the swan I thrifted last year. So I did put a little air plant in that with some of the beans. And what's different over here is that I was going to put that swan, the shelf, I was going to put that shelf way up there because I could reach it when working on those birds up there. I could easily reach over the railing, barely. Norm could reach much better than me to put the mirror up there. The shelf, put the shelf up there. So Norm struggled to hang it up there on one of the nails that was there. And with this crazy shelf, you can see how it comes together at the top there. You really should put a nail under each one of those loops going out to the sides, and that is safer too. So he struggled to put it up here. He got it all set, and I was kind of looking at it and thinking, I don't know if I like the gold so much right next to the shelf, a shelf next to a shelf. So he was looking at it too, and I said, I hate to ask you this, Norm, but do you think we should move the mirror up from the bottom of the mirror was maybe not about halfway there where the shelf is, about half of the shelf. The point maybe came down about that far. So I said, do you think if we move the mirror all the way up to the holes that you just made and hang it up there, that it would look better to have the shelf down here? And he was, standing across the room too, looking, and he said, yeah, I really do think it should be. But I have all these years worried that when he is going down the stairs, that anything sticking out at his head level would be a problem. I kept saying, is this going to be in your way? And he just said, no. Walking down the stairs, he said, no, that's not going to be a problem. So I guess we're happy with it. And even though it kind of bugs me a little bit that the angle of the mirror and the angle of the shelf up there are a little different, we're still happy with it. So let me know what you think of that cute little shelf and changing things around. I'm always changing something around here. He's working all the time, dragging out the ladder and tools. I keep him busy. So at the top of the stairs, I've had this darling 50s laminate table for quite a long time now. We're happy we bought that when we did, quite reasonable back when we found all these 50s laminate pieces of furniture that we have in our house. We didn't have to pay very much for them. I started liking lusterware because I kept finding it in the thrift stores. Up here, I had found this, the one on your left here, I'm just showing you the flowers right now. The one on your left is smaller and it has a rhinestone eye. And I found that a couple of years ago and thought it was so darling, but it didn't have a pal. And just a month ago, we went to a small town where there's a fun little antique shop, and they had this bird, and they were asking way more for it than I wanted to pay. But I knew it would go with this other bird. I spent $15 on it. The whole antique shop, as cute as it is, they're kind of high priced. But that was the only thing I found that I was crazy about, and Norm bought something for himself. But was I surprised when I got it home? I just thought it was identical. I didn't remember which way the other one was facing. But boy, was I surprised when I got it home and found that it was facing the opposite direction. There's only flowers on one side, and it was taller and a different position that the head and neck were in. So that sure was neat. Isn't it fun? I'm sure it's happened to you when you're collecting things and you find one thing and 3 years later you find something else that goes with it just perfectly. It's just wonderful. These two swans I thrifted for I think like $10 for the pair. They were half price in a thrift store it was a Family Pathways in St. Croix Falls, Wisconsin last summer. So we had a coupon discount for 50% off. So they were kind of the first things that I was buying that has this lusterware finish. And it does have a sticker on the one over here on the bottom other side. There's a little sticker that says Art Mark, Japan. So they are older. At first, like in my last thrift haul, I was telling you about getting this one for only $3 and something at a thrift store that it isn't marked. And so I was kind of wondering if they were a little more modern than Japan. But I'm seeing there's plenty of lusterware that was made even in the 50s. Probably your salt and peppers and dishes. But anyways, what do you think of that combination for up here? They're way bigger pieces than I normally, except for the two pink egrets on the bottom. They're perfect. But I know the swans and the egret on the top are much bigger birds, but it is a big shelf. It certainly handles it well. But they are bigger pieces than I normally put on that shelf. But I'm happy with it, just for spring for a while, in summer. Then this large lusterware piece I was eyeing for many months in the Hutchinson, Minnesota Main Street Antique Mall that we did, I think, 4 videos. It was sitting way high up, and I didn't even bother having Norm take it down because at the time I just didn't know how I felt about lusterware. And it really doesn't have any color. It's too bad. I wish there would have been turquoise on it. That would have been really fun. But it's nicely made, and the sticker underneath, inside, is missing. You can see there's just a partial little piece of paper. But I have no idea when it was made or how. I shouldn't say how, I mean who made it. This I found, trying to think of the antique shop we were just at. It was only $6 again, something like that, $6.95. Oh yeah, it was upstairs in the Hutchinson Main Street. A second trip there. Yeah, it was hidden behind some things, so I didn't see it. And again, this is lusterware. You can get a little bit of pearly effect down there. So I found it hard to pass up a swan with gold on it for $6.95. That was great. So this is just some greenery that I decided to put in that vase. It's a California vase I purchased many, many years ago at the state fairgrounds. Okay, at the top of the stairs here are 3 very, very fun turquoise swans that I just found this winter or early spring. The 2 turquoise ones, I could not believe that these were at our first trip to the Up Your Alley. Very fun, favorite antique shop. Vintage, they call themselves vintage, very much. I think, I'm trying to remember what they were. I think it was $20 for the pair. Still a steal to me. They are not cracked, chipped anywhere. I don't recall seeing any identification on the bottom. But what was so funny, I had just gotten these. And wouldn't you know, the vintage bombshell, Selena, who's one of my favorites to watch, her and Laura Caldwell. Originally, the two of them were doing the Recycled Life channel, but they've kind of split up now because they're both very successful in their own style and channels now. But Selena just showed those two swan bases. I couldn't believe my eyes. I thought, I just got those. And I didn't even get a chance to show them before her. That's what bummed me out. But anyways, they're just beautiful, aren't they? And this one was only $4.95, the little planter, at the Hutchinson Antique Mall too. Remember I said everything you find is $4.95 there, so I keep piling up the things, and before I know it, I've spent too much. Now, this, I just shared this as well as the Shadowbox downstairs. I shared it on Instagram and said that it is a 1970s Burwood plaque that is 3 feet high and, no, 2 feet high? I forget. Did I say it was 4 feet long? It's not 4 feet. It's got to be 3 feet long. Well, anyways, it's huge. You can probably tell. I think it's 2 feet by 3 feet. But it's pretty rare. I only see one right now for sale on eBay, and they want $300 for it. I'll have to correct myself with a little note here if I'm forgetting that figure already too. But I think I purchased this probably about 10 years ago. And the poor birds haven't seen the light of day around here for many years. I just can't find anywhere to display this crazy thing. It is so fun and so textured. I just love this tree bark. It's just amazing, isn't it? Well, that's really bringing the outdoors inside. Now, Norm always thought these birds were so funny, and he calls them Heckle and Jekyll. So the other day I looked up Heckle and Jekyll, and I saw that they were two very funny magpies. I don't even know what magpies are. They're just funny birds, I guess, and I should look for a real picture, if there is such a thing, or a real magpie bird. They were cartoon characters, so of course they were just plain black, I think. And I do not recall seeing that cartoon. I'm not sure also the decade that cartoon was out. I'm sure it's pretty old, but that is our fun plaque, and it's not hanging real great right now. We have a nice big screw in the wall up there that's too high for the actual hook that is on the back of this plaque. The hook is between the bird's breasts, so it's quite balanced and centered on the plaque. So if I put that hook from down there way up high to the top leaf up there, where our big screw is for our clock that we had here for a long time, it would be way too high. So it's hanging where it is right now, and I want to look at it this summer. Our Starburst Elgin clock stopped running, and it's not the battery, it's just not working well, so we'll have to take it in and get it repaired. But that's what's been at the top of the stairs for quite a few years now. So I'm enjoying this, especially since this one bird has kind of a teal color to it. It's looking more green in the video I can see here, but it's more of a teal color. So it does go nice with the turquoise birds. This is a gravel art picture that I also talked Norm into about 10, 15 years ago. When I first decided I wanted us to go retro, I was looking for things like this that you really, really think of as being mid-century modern. It has gold cording in it. I stood it up on the bottom edge out in the kitchen with a lot of towels on the kitchen counter, and I sprayed it down, all the gravel, with a little bit of a soapy, mostly alcohol solution, and it would drip down nicely, and I didn't touch it until it was all dry, but I got good dust off of it. So that's how I clean gravel art. Don't touch it, but you could spray it down. Well, I hope you're not too bored yet, or I haven't put you to sleep. But I just wanted to show you that I decided to take out all of the orange pressed glass pieces that I had around the house and just put orange and turquoise up here, because that's the main colors that I was using for spring here. So those are the pieces that I have. I've shown many of them before and talked about them, whether they're Fenton or some other maker. But you get the idea. So I won't go any longer, except for one more thing. I'd like to just give you an idea of what I'm doing in the living room right now for my next video. So let's go back down there. I've been having a lot of fun putting out some more tropical looking things, and I left a lot of the green in here, but what I wanted to do was add my favorite color, Norm's favorite color I think too, the orange. What I want to show you before I say goodbye is I was working out here and discovered that Norm, with his crazy sense of humor, stuck Waldo in between my books there for me to discover. Of course, I thought that was pretty crazy when I saw him. So Waldo, I wish you well on your next voyage, but I'm sure you'll be gone by the time I do our living room tour. So have some fun and be safe. Thank you again all so much for your wonderful support for our channel and your great comments that we love to hear. I'm sorry that I don't get to answer everybody. I try very hard. If you have a question, I try to answer you, but I know I'm not real great at it, so I apologize for that. I hope you have a wonderful day, and thanks again